Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. And today we finna react to what happened to Panasonic. Y'all remember Panasonic? About to get right into it. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Panasonic, over the past 100 plus years, has become one of the largest, most diverse companies out there. It is almost overwhelming. They report sales of over 8 trillion yen per year, which converts to over 50 billion US dollars. That comes from all different parts of the world in so many different areas of business. Most of us recognize Panasonic as a consumer electronics company because for many years, they were the #1 producer of them in the world. For decades, you would walk into a Best Buy and see Panasonic everywhere. They were
had the Panasonic TVs, the Panasonic DVD players, VCRs, shit. Had it all, boy. Panasonic everything, boy. Fuck they talking about?
among the best-selling brands in just about every section of the store, which is not exactly the case anymore.
Panasonic radio
focus toward other areas of business. So even though it might not seem like it anymore, the company still has a lot going on. Honestly, so much has happened with Panasonic that it would be nearly impossible to talk about all of it. So I'm thinking that my best approach here is to highlight 5 of their former areas of business and 5 current ones. But for the sake of the timeline and to keep it more dynamic, I'm going to be switching between them. It is a lot to cover, so let's see how this goes. Starting things out with a former business, and maybe the one that they used to be most known for, televisions. They started making TVs way back in the 1950s, but it was the 1964 Olympics in Tokyo broadcast that really motivated people in the country to buy one. In 1974, they wanted to strengthen that division while establishing a presence in the US television market, so they acquired the brand Quasar from Motorola. I know you might not recognize that name today, but trust me, it was well known in the US at the time. But Motorola had been focusing on other areas, so the quality and reputation of it were starting to slip. Once Panasonic took it over, they invested a lot of money into manufacturing and design improvements that helped revive it to an extent. In 2005, the Quasar brand was discontinued, and Panasonic was gaining a lot of traction with their plasma televisions. They quickly became the undisputed, best-selling, most respected maker of plasma displays, controlling over 40% of the market by 2010. However, when LCDs proved to be the next big thing, more efficient and technically superior in many ways, Korean competitors like Samsung and LG were quicker to adapt to it, while Chinese competitors came with affordable lower-end alternatives. It was really competitive, so Panasonic struggled to make that transition, and in 2014, they announced that they would stop making plasma TVs, and 2 years later, announced that they would be leaving the US market altogether.
Damn, all y'all had to do was just make some LCDs and some LEDs and y'all was straight. Y'all just wanted to stick to that plasma, even though I'm not gonna lie. Plasma TVs were fucking beautiful compared to the other ones, but it's understandable though, because plasma got that screen burn to it. Yeah, that screen burn was terrible, bruh.
Now, in 2024, they did return to the US with a new line of OLEDs and mini LEDs, but as of April of 2026, all Panasonic branded televisions in the US and Europe are now manufactured, marketed, and sold by a Chinese company called Skyworth. So even though there is some ongoing involvement with televisions, it is nothing like it used to be. Going back to the list, with a current business of theirs, energy, which can sort of be considered their oldest business. Yeah, the company was originally called Masoshita, named after its founder, who managed the company for over 50 years and I believe remained involved until shortly before his death at 94 years old.
Damn.
But back in 1918, at 23 years old, he started out by making electric plugs and sockets. His first notable product was a light fixture that could fit 2 bulbs in it. Over the years, they made various batteries and battery-powered products like clocks and flashlights. By 2020, they claim to have sold more than 200 billion dry batteries globally, the first and only Japanese company to have done that. They have also been heavily involved in making batteries for hybrids and electric vehicles. All the way back in 1996, they started a joint venture with Toyota that supplied batteries for their Prius and remained minority owner of it until Toyota bought them out in 2024. They have also been working closely with Tesla going back to 2009. Notably, in 2016, Panasonic became the exclusive supplier of batteries for the Model 3, their first mass-produced mass-produced vehicle. And while they are no longer an exclusive supplier, they still make a lot of electric vehicle batteries, recently opening one of the largest factories in the country that does it. Going back to the list, I'm going to start moving a little faster as I talk about their former business of physical media. See, in the 1950s, they acquired half ownership of the electronics company JVC, and in the 1970s, JVC essentially created the VHS.
Oh yeah, they did have VHSs too, them blank tapes and shit. Used to go to Blockbuster, give me a movie, had them dual deck VCRs, put the blank tape in one, put the movie in one, record it onto the blank tape, take it back the next day. We got the movie forever. Man, y'all don't understand, bro. VCRs used to come in clutch, bro. Good times, good times.
I know, a lot of initials here, but it was introduced as a direct competitor to Sony's Betamax format that they had released about a year earlier. Please let me know if anyone wants to see an entire video about this, but the short summary is that even though many people believe that the VHS was technically inferior, it won that format war.
Because it was cheaper.
They made agreements with other electronics companies to make their own VHS players, so they became more widely available and over the next decade took over about 90% of the market. And I should mention that Panasonic also played a part in creating the DVD and the Blu-ray and released the first portable player for each of them.
Definitely had a portable player. I remember having a Panasonic portable player. My shit had the two cords, the yellow. Mine's had the yellow and the white and the red cords on the side, so I could plug PlayStation 2 up to it. Shit. My brother take over the TV. Let your brother watch TV. Shit, all right, shit. Hook my shit, plug it up to my portable DVD player. Shit. Got my portable TV laying on top of my chest. I'm just playing NBA Street Volume 2, nigga. Fuck you, man.
To this day, I want to be clear that Panasonic continues to make some highly rated 4K Blu-ray players, but considering that all of physical media has declined so much, again, this part of their business is not nearly as significant as it used to be. Going back to the list with a current business of theirs, audio. In 1930, Matsushita started a joint venture with an existing radio manufacturer that went on to release a higher-end radio that was a little pricier and a little more reliable than the others on the market. In the 1950s, the name itself, Panasonic, was created as a brand for their speakers that were going to be exported to other countries. Pan meaning universal and Sonic meaning sound. In the 1960s, they started yet another brand called Technics to separate their higher-end speakers that has since been discontinued and recontinued. And in the 1980s, I think it is interesting that they introduced a line of personal cassette players called Stereo To Go that were meant to compete with the popular Sony Walkman. Today, they continue to make various radios and speakers and headphones and all sorts of audio products. Another discontinued business of Panasonic would be video games. See, in the 1990s, Trip Hawkins, the founder of Electronic Arts, created the 3DO. There was a lot of hype around it, including Time magazine naming it as the best product of 1993, but it failed to live up to expectations.
Man, they be hyping up
was
anything.
The first and primary company licensed to manufacture.
Hell no.
Very similar to the VHS, the idea
hell no, this shit look, hell no,
was to license a bunch of companies to make it. It would become more widely available and hopefully become the new standard format for video games. Well, part of the reason it did not work is because that structure led to a $699 price tag, so people were not exactly gravitating toward it.
They tripping like a motherfucker. Hell no. To make that shit 200. See, man, why they just don't start? If you upstart company, best thing you can do, if you jumping into a market that's already dominated by a couple of brands, best thing you can do is undercut them and make your shit cheaper and more accessible. That way you can tap into the market. Duh.
Not to mention that their rival, Sony, came out with the much more successful PlayStation the following year. In the end, the 3DO sold an estimated 2 million units over the course of 3 years, compared to over 100 million units for the PlayStation. Listen to this. Panasonic actually paid to obtain the exclusive rights to a potential follow-up to the 3DO called the M2, and reportedly even came close to forming some kind of partnership with Sega to make it a reality. Another current business is appliances. In the 1950s, they started making just about any appliance you can think of, large ones like refrigerators and small ones like rice cookers. I really don't have too much to say here, other than the fact that they have continued to make them ever since, but the availability is very much based on what part of the world you are from. For example, a big story was the fact that they stopped selling refrigerators and washing machines in India in 2025.
Yeah, cause them niggas stank. Them niggas dirty. No offense, but y'all niggas be stanking over there. I be looking at the videos, bruh. Hell no, bruh. Y'all niggas be walking around in dirt and shit. I know it be stanking over there. No offense, but from the videos that I be seeing of y'all over there, how y'all be living, hell no, I know it be stanking like a motherfucker over there. Musty shit.
Currently, in the US market, it looks like they are mostly focused on HVAC systems, electric shavers, and small kitchen appliances like microwaves. So if you live in the US and are interested in buying a Panasonic branded product, those are some of your best options right now. Going back to another former business, music/movies, like the actual production of it. In 1990, they were already making televisions and speakers and VCRs and whatever else people were using to watch movies and listen to music in their homes. So it seemed logical to expand into other parts of those industries by actually making the stuff that people were watching and listening to. That makes enough sense, right? Plus, competitor Sony had just acquired the film studio Columbia the previous year and CBS Records the year before that. So pressured by all these factors, Panasonic acquired MCA for over $6 billion. It was the largest Japanese acquisition of an American company at the time. MCA was the owner of Universal Studios and had multiple connections to the music industry. However, the Hollywood production culture proved to be a poor fit, so they sold it only a few years later. Damn. But looking back, it is strange to think that all of those Universal movies from the early 1990s, like Jurassic Park, were made under the ownership of Panasonic. Returning to the list, another current business of theirs, cameras. They have been making consumer video cameras since the 1980s, but in 2001, they introduced the digital camera brand Lumix that they have continuously sold ever since. Notably, in 2008, they made the first mass-produced mirrorless camera, though it may not be obvious that Panasonic has always been the company behind it. Another former business is mobile phones. In 2000, Panasonic sold over 15 million mobile phones, which
I ain't never seen a Panasonic cell phone in my life. Never in my life have I seen a Panasonic cell phone. I seen Nokia, I seen Samsung, I seen LG, I seen HTC, I've seen Apple. I ain't never seen a Panasonic, nigga. Hell no.
Made them the 5th largest producer in the world with over 5% market share. Those numbers
what
crazy,
the
but
fuck?
they were in the top 5 and expressed the goal of reaching the top 3 over the next few years. Well, that never ended up happening because in 2005 they announced that they would discontinue the sale of them in foreign markets, including the United States, due to poor sales. Though in 2012 they made a short-lived comeback attempt by selling smartphones in select markets, but gave up on it the following year after losing a lot of money on it. But I do think it is interesting that they continue to sell a wide variety of landline telephones for homes and businesses with and without cords. Finally, maybe the most unexpected category on the list is that they currently sell bicycles. Masushita, when he was 9 years old, became an apprentice at a bicycle shop. In the early 1920s, one of his first breakout products was a bullet-shaped battery-powered lamp to go on the front of bicycles. It stood out because it worked for about 30 hours, considerably longer than the 2 to 3 hours people expected from most competing products. In the 1950s, they started making bicycle frames, and in the 1970s, they started exporting them to the US, followed by Europe and Australia, and they became the first company to make Schwinn bicycles when they started outsourcing production. Yeah, a lot of the popular Schwinn models of that decade were made by Panasonic, but in 1989, I guess because the dollar-yen conversion rates made it unprofitable, they stopped selling them in North America, but have continued to do it mainly mainly in Japan. So there you have it, and please remember that these are not complete lists. Panasonic has been involved with PCs and semiconductors and pencil
sharpeners. I was about to say, we ain't getting to computers.
Way more than would be practical to talk about in a video like this. I highly recommend you look further into it if you want to learn about them more extensively, but my intention here was to express the changing nature of this company and why the brand has declined and become so much less relevant. A lot of the stuff that we knew them for has been discontinued or at least severely diminished, while most of their continuing...
That's why they need to stick to what they selling, bro. Need to go back to television, bro. Go back to television. I mean, you still doing cameras, you still doing appliances, you still doing headphones, still doing light bulbs. Bring that television back, bro. Bring that television back, bro. Y'all come back into the television game. Make computer monitors. Make them for the low. You know what I'm saying? Shit, y'all could do so much, bro. Y'all can make computers. Hop back in the computer game, cuz. I'm saying, though. Anyways, though.
Businesses are either hidden from the public, promoted under a different brand, or mostly sold in Japan or other countries. This really is one of the more extensive companies that I have tried to cover, so tell me whether or not you feel you have a decent sense of what they have been up to for the past century, and also let me know in the comments any thoughts you might have had about Panasonic. Have you noticed these changes occurring, and do you view them as being positive or negative? I want to point out that Sony has been arguably more successful over this past decade. It is not as direct of a comparison as it once was, but they have done pretty well in some of these areas that Panasonic has mostly abandoned. So how do you compare the two, and any other thoughts you have about...
This is a bunch of Sony dick riders out there. Even with what's going on with Sony right now, they still dick riding. I got Sony PlayStation, I got Sony computer, I got a Sony TV, I got Sony headphones. Damn, nigga, what else you got, Sony? I got them Paul Georges, you know, them PlayStation Paul Georges. Damn, nigga, they still make them? I thought his line got discontinued. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, I had to get it because it was Sony. Dick riding ass, nigga, get your dick riding ass on, bruh.
There are gonna be two guys sitting on a rock, and they're gonna be looking out at the cityscape of Los Angeles or Miami. It's gonna be all ruins. And they're gonna say, damn, we used to have an amazing civilization. I read about it in some of these books that's left over. It's like, for real? It's like, yeah, man, things were great. We had all kinds of stuff. We had people bring you food to your house whenever you wanted. We had, like, you go to a place and tip somebody, they dance for you. You have a great time. And so, what happened to it? What ended this great civilization? The guy's gonna look up in the sky and he's gonna go, dick ride. We just couldn't get off a nigga's dick. We just hopped on everybody's dick, lost all of our objectivity, lost all of our critical thinking skills. And we just went with what was popular and what the next nigga said. And we rode dick into oblivion. I'm trying to stop that.